It was a legendary escape from a place that was supposed to be inescapable. 55 years ago this month, three men pulled off the impossible, breaking out of Alcatraz.
I think many people have seen the classic American TV series called Prison Break. Today we will talk about a real-life prison break on Devil Island. This is the most famous prison break in American history. Where is Devil Island? It is a very famous American prison, located on a small island in San Francisco Bay, California. This small island has a virtual currency of only 0.08 square kilometers. The island is surrounded by steep cliffs with no sandbanks. The water around the area is extremely deep. The distance between the two nearest beaches is 2.4 kilometers. This is a very suitable place to build a prison. It is like placing a rock on the sea and then placing a prison on this rock. So this island is also called the Giant Rock Island. This place was originally a military base, but in 1906 in San Francisco, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake occurred. Many buildings collapsed. The prison in the city caught fire, so they started and evacuated the prisoners outside. But the outside was a mess, the most in this prison. Serious prisoners cannot be placed here and there arbitrarily, so they quickly helped bring these 176 prisoners to the island, so that they would not be in any danger and could not escape later. Because of this incident, the discovery of this island was too suitable to build a prison. So in 1912, the US federal government built a giant prison on this island. Since then, the name of every island has changed from a giant rock island to Prison Island. Then in the 1930s, the Great Depression, in America everywhere, appeared a large number of violent armed criminals, all of whom were organized criminals. If they were in a normal prison, it would be very unsafe because the criminal organization would come to the rescue. For example, the boss was imprisoned here while he was still alive. He would come to the rescue. However, the bosses of criminal organizations were all killed on this island. For example, the boss of the notorious American black gang studied iPhone. He is the founder of the Chicago crime syndicate who goes in and out of prison. Normally, he is not allowed to go out. Well, it is impossible for the leaf boat to come to the rescue, so on the island, all are mafia bosses. And what kind of people are imprisoned on this island? Those are people who are very good at escaping prison. That is, the normal prison is no longer spacious, so if they keep RAM, they will escape. If they keep RAM, they will escape. That's why the prison on the island is like Michael Tokyo in Prison Break. It must be imprisoned here, and since then on this island there are no more ordinary prisoners, only serious violent criminals who regularly escape from prison. But those who have been sentenced to hundreds of years all come out here, and from there the name of this island is changed again. From the evil Cherry Prison Island then. This is where the devils gather, and the security level is also the highest. The prison has 600 rooms. All the rooms are thong connected to the outside wall, which means that there will be no windows in the cell that can see outside. All the fences in the prison, including the gate fences or some lenka inside, all the barriers are made of special materials. If you use a normal tool, even if you have an edge, you can't pry the pot. In addition, the four sides around the prison have also been cut. The watchtower solution is not called a watchtower, but a gun tower. The people on it all hold guns and throw them into the prison. Standing on this watchtower, you can see all the rooms in the prison. This watchtower also uses iron to rotate from the outside, so it's definitely impossible to get in. Inside the prison's cafeteria, on the ceiling, they hide to put tear gas bombs that can be controlled remotely, which means that if a riot occurs, you would die. The watchtower starts releasing tear gas. This island is called the Devil Island. The guards are also extremely strict, and it's isolated from the mainland. But in fact, the environment on this island is extremely good because here they only accept people who have committed the most crimes, so the rate of being killed here is also low. The RAM is never full. It guarantees each person a room and special meals. Very good. The food must be really delicious. Not only full, but also full of nutrition. Everything is available. In addition, as long as the prisoner has good performance when reading books, there are more than 15,000 books can freely read. Flowers children can be given. Musical instruments can also self-study, can also draw. Paper pen or color tickets, anything can be provided if there is even better performance. Then every month, children can watch movies. This is just good performance. Can live very comfortably there. So many ordinary prisoners. Why other prisons are asked to be transferred to this island, what they care about most is to have each person in a room, because many of the best in all the traffic stations, usually they all say that they are the owners of the same room, have different opinions. So having each person in a room for them is really too important. Since this prison was built, it has always been considered a two-house that cannot be escaped again. Its environment is really special. It is dug around and surrounded by cliffs and water, also very deep and extremely cold. Another thing is that the sea around there is also full of sharks, mainly great white sharks even, more so around there. Everywhere there are lighthouses, patrol boats, watchtowers, so it is definitely impossible. Yes, that's okay. However, in reality, since the prison was built, until now, there have been more than 30 people who tried to escape. Of those people, 23 were recaptured, 6 were shot dead, 2 drowned. But in 1962, which is about 60 years ago, there were 3 people who successfully escaped from prison, but it cannot be said that they successfully escaped, but they disappeared from this prison. Actually, there were 4 people in total who escaped from prison, but 1 was recaptured. Of these 4 people, 1 was named Kawhi Madrid, and the 2 brothers who lifted him up, and the clerk, and another person was Alouette. First, let's briefly introduce these 4 people. Very smart person. At the age of 11, he was abandoned by his parents. Since then, he became an orphan and also started committing crimes. At the age of 13, he was arrested for all the words guns and drugs, then arrested again for carjacking and armed robbery, then handed over to the bank. Sentenced to 10 years in prison. After being released from prison, he committed illegal entry and was arrested. Finally, he was sent to the point that the biggest reason why this person was sent to the Devil Island was because he often escaped from prison, and many times he succeeded. So before being sent to this prison, people measured his IQ. His IQ was as high as 133, among the top prisoners. 2 brothers were rising. They were rural children. 2 people were 1 year apart. Little hair, because he did not want to work in the fields, had already been involved in society since he was 20 years old. He continuously committed crimes, mainly robbing banks. The last place was when he was 27 and 28 years old. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison, and the other was sentenced to 20 years in prison. These 2 days were also due to many prison breaks, so he was sent to the On This Island Martins. Airware started committing crimes at the age of 16. Before he was 28, he was arrested a total of 20 times, so most of his life was spent in prison. During the process of being arrested, he also escaped from prison many times. Finally, he was sent to this Devil Island. In addition to the common point of often breaking out of prison, these 4 people also had another point. They were all about the same age, and the thing was that they were born during the Great Depression in America. It seemed that in that era, crimes like bank robberies were very common. Before going to Devil Island, these 4 people already knew each other, but they didn't know each other in society. They knew each other in prison. And there was another thing that led to the 4 people escaping from prison together. That was that their cells were next to each other. In December 1961, they began planning to escape. The leader and planner of this escape was also the oldest person with a very high IQ, Florales. First, the 4 of them spent about half a year preparing their belongings. Used tools in prison. These tools: how many glue spoons, soap, toothpaste, toilet paper, hair towel, bath, raincoat, vacuum cleaner. You hear these things now but don't know what to use them for later. I tell you, they all have extremely important uses. First, they little by little mixed more than 50 raincoats of the prison, learned to cut the raincoats to make a rubber boat out of the raincoat pieces. Together, he didn't just glue for the child, used the heating method when the dog pulled this rain to melt, so they stick together like a big boat. So wanting to blow it up is extremely difficult. Wanting to memorize it takes hours, so it definitely can't be done. Actually, they use the blowpipe of his team to blow air to it. Flowers can all have prison music. Good deeds are Off-lane musical instruments, very good expressions. So asked for a khaki shirt, sir. Actually, it was to blow air to the boat. But how could they know that using raincoats can make rubber boxing, but later discovered that he often went to the library was the library and prison is good to go to the magazine. He often reads later, take that right out, only to discover that there was an article about how to save lives when camping in here there. Is a plot here saying that if you are swept away by a big flood, things like raincoats, it can inflate, it won't. Leak air when you can make another object that can float on the surface. Maybe that's why he made the association A. This can be made into something like the districts can use. At sea, then learn hello rain. Melt 4 life jackets you have and waterproof bag this bag for individual groups. Then use pieces of maple wood to make oars, and so the tools to move at sea are complete. What to do to get from the room to the sea here? Need to dig a hole in the cell. They stole small metal coins in the kitchen, like just having it is useless. Because the sauce is all concrete, take that thing to dig but can't dig, so they stole the motor of the vacuum cleaner clamp, the type, and the motor connects to the electricity and the room is turned into an electric coax, but also does. I can drill just under the water tank. There is a ventilation hole, or drill this ventilation hole bigger, then people can get younger, and from this ventilation hole, where to go is an active repair. Water repair, electricity, water storage in this prison. It is with the structure in the movie Prison Break, but there is a problem, that is the concept that they do it themselves. Once used, it will make a very loud noise, then it will be exposed. So can play musical instruments. Yes, all the disadvantages of good deeds in this prison will be musical instruments that are fixed every day. Yes, for them to perform, and at the right time, that is when the prison is the noisiest. Then they naturally at this time start drilling the wall. Actually, there is no need to drill the hole too big, just make the hole a little bigger, one person can trace it. So the time they drill the wall is not too long, and there is no need to drill every day. Just a few days before leaving, 4 people drill their own hole is enough for a. People all have to pay attention, because each person has a room. Here is not like the movie Shawshank. Prison death must be more than 10 years. The first is the path is clear, but digging through early is very easy to be discovered. Then go out. These things, they need to do some extremely important things. Later you will see. This is really a great trick after drinking cows. Can go out at night. There will be a room check. If the check and no one is found in, there will be angry pull the alarm. Then they will not be able to run. They are not like Sophia. Sophia just need to get over the wall to be considered a target, but they not only need to get over the wall, but also have to forget the sign to be considered a shame, so it takes more time, so it is best not to be discovered all night. So how do I check this room? They used soap, toothpaste, concrete. People also toilet paper, hair, collected to make 4 old people's heads. The head recently done very well. On it swept a layer of skin color, must be fun. Where does this color come from? Because the person who performs well will be drawn out of the 4 of them. One person asked to be drawn, so there was color. Then before leaving, put this head on the bed and put a towel inside it to look like a sleeping person. After everyone, the things were fully prepared on the evening of June 11, 1962. Then they started to escape. Whoever got it brought the candidate's jacket, the rowing boat, and had to bring the boat, which was still not inflated, protruding from that hole. Of these 4 people, only iCloud was not available. They could not be transported out. Why couldn't you guys get out? It was because at first when he drilled the hole, he drilled it too big. A few days before that, 4 had finished drilling. He was afraid of being discovered, so he used cement to cover it up a bit. He waited. The day he took the car 7, he got out and it was done. The result was that the day of escape, the cement was not firmly in place. He couldn't do it. Oh, I'm late. He couldn't do it because it would make a very loud sound if he kept digging little by little with his hands. He dug 7 for several hours. Then he got out. He discovered that the other 3 people were no longer there. They hadn't been there for a long time. They had also planned the route like this from this pine wood following the repaired road to the end. There is a staircase that can go straight to the roof. After climbing up the machine of the house, go up the machine of the kitchen. There is a chimney. Follow the difficult to go down to the ground, then continue on the ground down to catch fish. This will go down to the sea. Then press down to Mr. Wang after going outside, discovering that the other 3 people are no longer there. He also follows the route it goes down, but when he goes up to the roof, he discovers that it is just dawn to dawn. Otherwise, I would follow the old path back to sleep, because like that had fooled the police room. So in reality, when the police discovered that the others had escaped was during roll call, and the next morning the other 3 did not come out. So the police went into the room to see these people. Why were they still sleeping? The head touched the head in the sea and fell to the ground, making the police scared to death. Later, the police were also surprised and admired that these heads were made so realistic. The 5 senses lines, colors on them are exactly like real people. Returning to the story, after discovering that the 3 people had disappeared, the police also discovered that in the web room there was the whole scanned. The real cost of the diners from the beginning of the story, from the time of planning how to escape, and when these people escaped at the same time actively cooperated with the police to hunt down the other 3 people. So in the end, the web did not have to suffer any heavy punishment anymore. Then, after determining the 3 people escaped, the police pulled the alarm and started searching all over the country and immediately sent patrol boats to search the sea in a wide area. Actually, the police search was not only discovered late, but in fact the large-scale search was also late because the 2 prison guards were not there. They were on leave, and at the time there was no phone. At this time, no one could contact the prison guard. After a long time of contacting them, they started a wide-scale search. After 10 days of searching at sea, they only discovered a mechanical paddle for this team, exactly like the one they left in the prison, which was the paddlefish that was supposed to be taken away by car. It was exactly the same as it. This proves that it was the one. They did more, discovered 2 beautiful wedding dresses made from raincoats, 1 money found in the hospital, 1 found outside, so it floated on the water without any damage day, and there was a waterproof found made from that rain in the bag. There was also an object related to the 2 fast. Thanks to the rising, there were some photos of them and photos of relatives and friends. There was also a piece of paper. On it decided to leave contact methods with friends and relatives. Everything found was intact through here. It can be seen that they spent a lot of time preparing in the end. Still did not have time to see the hovercraft, but found some pieces cut. 2 rain people speculated that this boat must have been broken. Ruby waves broke and turned into these pieces. If the hovercraft broke, then their success rate of escaping prison is not high. Because why, when the waves van hung, this is extremely strong, especially when they travel at night. Even though it is June, the 2 seawater is only 10 degrees, just need to go into the water for 10 minutes. Then they just start to shrink uncontrollably. And then, due to low body temperature, will cause shock. Finally, the person will drown or freeze to death. Another thing is that sharks are active at night. If they are injured during the escape, they are very likely to be in the shark sites. And another thing that makes the police think that they probably haven't escaped is that even if they successfully get to shore, the shore is not a deserted place with no people. The other side is a very bustling place everywhere. There are people day and night, many people, some people wearing clothes to escape and swim to shore. They have already been discovered because there are also police patrolling, but in fact, after a long time of investigation and questioning, they did not see anyone wearing prison clothes or someone who seemed to have come ashore. So when the police speculated that they must have seen the ocean, the water rose, even though the police thought that taking them for life in the ocean was very high. The search never stopped. Moreover, they had to confirm. Also issued a wanted notice everywhere. After issuing it again, they received a lot of news. You guys said, oh, there is someone very similar to them. The police ran everywhere, but all confirmed that it was not them. Half a year after these 3 people escaped from prison, there was another person on the island of devils who escaped from prison. This person's name is Sposacode. We too did not have a boat, nor the help of any tools, simply swam across, but after swimming to shore, due to hypothermia so unconscious. A child passing by discovered so immediately, reported to the police saying that discovered a dead person at the time, saw is a prisoner escaped, immediately saw still. Alive, he robbed a bank. Was sentenced to 30 years in prison at that time. When he escaped from prison, he was with another person named Do Ripper 2 days because of good behavior, so they were allowed to work. At the restaurant, the night of the escape, they hid in the kitchen, did not return to the cell. The police did not discover at that time the two of them. From the kitchen went everywhere finally. Found a window, broke this window to go out, jumped down the cliff, started swimming. The result when jumping from the cliff, down, red leg broken. Leg broken then, but still went down to swim in the pool to a rock, then couldn't continue. So he stopped at it, and poor then just continued. Finally was able to swim to shore because via the rapper was able to get to shore, so it made the police suddenly think of the others most likely had already crossed because those people had boats and life jackets, but sport didn't have anything. Actually can't say there was nothing. There was also not the kid we both prepared or rubber gloves. These gloves after blowing up can also be a life buoy. Also just got the other shore called when hot boy. Lawn half a year later, December is the coldest time, but he was still able to swim across. This news when it was posted, people met high and saw, this can be seen that many people started to challenge this matter. They started swimming. Of course, they couldn't go to the island to swim back to shore, so they arranged a door near Tao. Then the house from heaven came down and swam out to see if they could swim. But they all swam during the day because at night there were sharks. Finally, interviewed some people who tried. These words, most of them were professional swimmers. The waves in this sea area were so big that he didn't dare to go swimming. Professional swimmers also said that if they were professional athletes, they could still be considered normal people. Usually really too difficult. There are two main reasons. First is the water temperature is too low. Second is the waves and currents are too strong for normal people's physical strength is not strong enough to resist the current. Professional athletes, because the body adjusts very well, can also be good. Long-term training so they can swim to shore. Normal people almost cannot. And when they draw this conclusion, the police couple to think about a story from the past. When investigating the case, they also questioned some prisoners to see what impression they had of the escaped prisoners or what they understood about them. These prisoners all said higher in Hawaii, extremely good health. The most even know all sports, like baseball, jogging, also run extremely fast. Then the police went to investigate. Must 25 is up to discover these two people originally live in the sea area, have the ability to really be swimming masters like this. Then the rate of two people consecutively successfully escape the ball for tension is very high in reality after the incident intentionally, since this prison has closed. Moreover, started since 1972, the place has become a tourist area. Kwai returned to the national park. Just pay money to visit the island. And there was a very good movie called Sherlock that was filmed here. This incident then for more than 50 years there was no progress, and I don't know if those people escaped successfully or not. Unfortunately, until 2013, the San Francisco police, I received a letter on the mail knowing that this person's name is Cho Hying N Lenmon with the name Don. A person named Collagen, this Mr. Doe, wrote in the letter that the three of us had successfully escaped from prison and lived together for a while. He said, if you agree to report this incident on the news, I will tell the police where I am. I can also go back to prison, but at most I will only pay for 1 year. But the thing is that you have to agree to treat me. The police may think that this is a fake incident, so they don't care about it. Later, the nephew of the line also spoke up. He knew that these three people really survived, and there were many more people who after escaping still lived together for a while until 1975. Also means living together 13 years later, because to prove that he said 2016, he provided a photo of the two people in the photo are his two bowls. One person is because hurry up, one person is the light up. This photo was also actually taken in 1975. The location is in Brazil. Then the police sent this photo to forensics and also experts. Different means to identify. Experts through personal signs. Judge it is likely real, say, from the appearance of the appearance compared to the documents of the prisoners and the police. Grasped it. Probably an hour. This nephew also does not know where these people are who, if they arrest them, then they are probably still alive. Ballad is probably dead. Frankie, he does not know anything. Usually this incident can be explained perfectly. Why they were not discovered until later is because they came to Brazil all their lives. Living in Brazil, not anymore. People. The mother of this nephew, she is the younger sister of 3CE. Red Lipstick also confirmed. The police said that the two of them, after the group was 35, every Christmas they sent an architecture on this card without a stamp. Seeing the signatures were all of the brothers. It also means that these two groups survived. Later, the police publicly released a document confirming that in the 60s, when investigating the incident, the police had suspected that they had fled to Brazil because they were sad, or at that time, Brazil was more politically unstable. Brazil was very large. Many people, those wanted criminals of America, just ran to Brazil basically, disappeared among the crowd. It's not that Brazil would accept these fugitives, it's just that Brazil at that time had no one to manage them. In fact, not just America at that time. Fugitives from everywhere fled to Brazil. There were people who were tried with the Nazis who also fled to Brazil, but America in Brazil was extremely rare. Why is that? Because Brazil is very poor. Brazilians all fled to America. No one fled to Brazil. Forgot that at that time there was political turmoil. Serious business people all ran back and did not go to the market. Until then, it was very rare to see Americans. Later, someone said they saw Leon's brothers in Brazil. He said that he was farming there. Until today, San Francisco police and posted when looking for these escaped prisoners. If they are still alive, brothers and sisters, they must be around 90 or 91 years old. Call him, he is 94 or 95 years old. According to U.S. law, it is necessary to investigate until when all prisoners reach 9 years old, then they are no longer investigated. So there are still about 5 to 10 years left. Thank you for watching. If you want, you can register to watch the next videos. Or if you still have time, you can watch other videos of this channel.